Hello, you've got the ladies in the living room, your friend
Hello.
Laura and your friend.
Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Laura.
It was an interesting week on in the Bahamas. We're still in the Bahamas. Again,
We're still
it's reminiscent
Bahamas.
of the New York gals being in Puerto Rico for what seemed like eons.
Yeah, it
I
did.
just feel like we've been in Bahamas now. We've been at that Bahama
What is
Bar
it, like 3
for
episodes?
3 episodes. Like, is it
I mean, look, Bahamas is beautiful, seeing the scenery there, but we want to go back to Charleston
It's like
at
the
this point.
old sitcoms we used to watch in the 80s, like
Yeah.
when they have their trips, like the Growing Pains family would go to Hawaii and it was a 3-part special. It's kind of
Yes.
like, here we are in Bahama Mar watching Shep just get his ass handed to him
Oh, yeah.
in his karmic debt repayment,
Yeah.
all coming forward through, all coming due in Sierra.
Yes.
Sierra has
Oh, man.
handed Shep his
Mhm.
manlyhood in 20 different ways from Sunday, and I freaking love it.
She's giving him a dose of his own medicine and then some.
Shep, why are
I
we
mean, it is like
he's so creepy.
pretty
Even at
bad.
one point when he was saying goodbye, like after they're broken up and like, they're never gonna talk again or whatever.
Yeah, she's like,
And
"Get
he's
me out of
standing
here.
next to her and he's like,
See you never."
well, they're kind of she gave him a side hug goodbye.
Oh,
And
like,
he's
she couldn't even give him, like, a full hug,
but
and then
wait,
she's like, "Don't hate me,
no,
Shep."
it was not even that. It was you smell really good.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Oh,
creepy creeper,
creepy.
dude,
I think
cringe.
she's getting the creeps
You
from
s
him.
I would be getting she just the whole time is like, "What?"
Like, "Oh my
Like, "Huh?"
god, this
I
guy.
love that she just handed his basical sack on a platter to
She
him
did.
and
She
was like,
really
"Here
did.
you go,"
Yeah.
but, how does it come back? Where are we? We kinda
So we
pick up
got
with
them they're
JT
getting the
leaving.
JT left, okay, whatever. Oh, and Shep's getting his megalodon necklace
Oh,
ready to give to
it
Sienna,
was a
and
cool
he's all
necklace,
proud of
and they
it,
gave the same exact one
to
to
Taylor.
that's his go-to.
That's his go-to, but she was probably expecting maybe some diamonds or something like that, and
Yeah,
she
like
got a megalodon. I
it
don't
looked cool
know,
on her, though. She was wearing it. It looked
it
cool.
did look cool. I mean, no, I think she seemed like she liked it very much,
Sure.
but, also, it looks like Craig is really on, like, a bit of a tirade now,
Oh
like, "This
my
dinner's gonna
god.
be weird. Why are you inviting her to the
Every
dinner?
minute she's
I'm
here,
telling you like it
she's
is."
leading him on. Like, Craig,
Yeah.
see, I don't know. Craig,
Well, I think, yeah, when Craig gets hooked, and they said this, like, when he gets hooked into something, he gets, what was the word? Very resolute.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
Shep was saying.
yeah.
So he does though, and it's kind of like, well, first
But
of all,
why do you
it's
care
not
so
your business
much?
so
Right.
much. You're friends with Shep,
I felt like
but he gets very impassioned by this
so let's
stuff,
talk about while you
by
brought
the
up
drama.
Craig. Let's just talk about the whole Craig Austin situation on the beach. Like
Okay, let's
without
jump
going,
to that.
yeah, like let's without going into the whole thing because I feel like the big, obviously Sienna was there and they were fighting and they were, like don't
Well,
at
it
the
looks
not
like,
fighting, but Craig saying he was an addict to Austin, right? He opens up to him
yeah,
at the end of the episode, and they're
yeah,
talking about, he's like, they finally talk it out,
yeah,
what's been happening with their friendship. But it seemed to me like, what is Craig an addict from? Is it
yeah.
Adderall? Or is
So
it alcohol? Because Craig seemed to me a lot of those times when he becomes resolute like that, I think he's been drinking and it's hard for him to kind of separate, like
that's a good point. When he gets in these
I
tirades, it's
think it's
probably because he's drinking,
correct.
and that's like a side effect of how his
And if he's
personality
right,
is.
and if he's not drinking,
Yeah.
then what is wrong with him? Like,
So it
but he
could
did come
be
off as drinking and or slightly drunk to me in these
he did
episodes.
seem.
So what is he
And
an
you
addict
saw, like,
from?
and you notice he usually had, like, a beer or something in his hand. I'm like, "Is this a non-alcoholic beer that he's got in his hand, or
But
is that is he
is
drinking?"
he referring to the alcohol or is he referring to the Adderall?
It seemed that he was referring to the alcohol
It did,
because
but it seemed like he
when
was
he's hanging
drinking.
with Austin, that's all that Austin and maybe Shep, definitely Shep, they like to do. They
Right.
like
I
to go
mean,
on these, like, little drunken binges.
and are they just not is he just not drinking to excess? But if you are positioning yourself as an addict, Craig. Are
Yeah.
you California sober where you just like or Shep sober where you're not
You're
drinking
taking
to
it down.
oblivion?
I think that's it.
Or because then if I that gets a little to me, if I was an alcoholic or an addict with
Mhm.
alcohol watching this show, I'd be like, what kind of message is this sending? I don't know. It's very muddied.
Yes.
Because he was trying to, talk to, Austin and saying like, I wasn't in a good place, man. Like basically he was saying like Paige came in and saved him.
Yeah.
Um,
This must be what Paige is referring to, like, she did so much for Craig, and what Craig is
and by
referring
the
to,
way, yes,
and to her credit, I think that what I think is it seems to me
she's
Craig has an addictive personality. So when you have an addictive personality, you're gonna kinda get hooked on whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be a
right.
substance.
It can be the
It could be
girl.
a
Sure.
job, it could be the
Sure.
girl, it could
Right. What
be
he's doing right now with
whatever he's doing,
his,
because it seems like he is a bit addicted to work right now. So,
and it wasn't
he does
nice,
have an addictive personality. I do
but I
think
think that's where his resoluteness comes out.
yes.
And I really believe that. Now I could be wrong, but that's
Yeah.
really
Yeah, I
my
think that's it.
feeling on it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that was a nice moment between him and Austin. I mean, they were both crying, so it
Yeah, I
obviously
mean, you did feel for Craig when he said, "The reason why I'm on the couch is because if I get off the couch,
I'm gonna go
I'm
drink
gonna
a
drink
bottle
a
of
whole bottle of
Jaeger.
Jägermeister." So, I think it's
So that
probably
was
once he starts drinking, he can't
like he
stop.
has to take himself
Like,
out.
I'm not gonna have a glass of, champagne, I'm gonna have 3 bottles.
Right. And
You
in
know what
and
I
in past
mean? It's like, or
episodes
like he said, he'll drink a bottle of Jaeger.
And in past episodes, he's had this conversation with his parents, and they're like, "Well, Craig, you got to be careful because it's in our family on
Yeah,
both sides. Like,
that's right.
it's in there.
It's in there,
So
so
it
that
isn't.
too is a huge thing.
Yeah, and like you gotta sort of, play it. But I thought it was a very sweet moment between him and Austin. They were crying, and it seems like they're much better now. You
Well,
know,
Austin really understands it. He understands Greg. He said he's trying to beat the demon.
right?
So,
He's like,
even though
Craig,
he
help
was
me.
apparently a little
Paige,
drunk,
help me. Right?
but Paige helped him. So, the lifestyle that he leads
He
now
couldn't live
and the
the
time
life
he
anymore.
spends with Paige is one that does not involve substances,
Correct. And
right?
then
And that puts him on a much better path for
right,
himself
and then it's just Austin was kinda collateral damage because what was their whole relationship going out,
and
and
drinking.
then when Craig said, "Let's, I'm sorry it impeded on our time together, but let's, like,
Yeah.
let's find other ways to be together." He's like, "Let's make it a priority," like he said to him on the beach after that.
Exactly. And
So
I think it goes back to many episodes ago in this season where him and Craig were at the pool and Craig just didn't want to get into, like, this is my life now. This is what I'm doing. Remember
right,
when him and Austin had it out initially?
right.
In the beginning of the
This is it.
season.
So if you
This
want
is
it,
it,
this
so
is where you
take it or
find
leave
me.
it. This is how I want my life to be.
Right.
And again, we'll give a lot of credit to Paige because I think she really helped put him on that path.
Yeah, and Austin's very
So,
as much as I give Austin a hard time about being the Honda Civic, of men and all
right.
that. Like he is very sweet, and that was very sweet. He's like, "Thanks for opening up to me," and
Yes.
he is got a sweet side to him.
Oh, I think he's sensitive and,
Yeah, like
his feelings he's losing his
yeah,
friend.
he's not like dramatic where he
No.
doesn't like he's not a tough guy. He's kind of just he wants to
No.
just booze and
He
hang
likes
out
to have fun
and
and
hang
be
out
with
with
his
the ladies
buddies
and hang out with the
and hook up
ladies.
with the
Of
ladies.
course.
Yeah, I mean, he's living the Charleston life like Shep is. Shep
Well,
to
Shep
an
is his world
extreme.
is so pathetic. Like,
Shep is sad, and I worry for Shep more. I mean, he's 44
and
years old now.
he's involved in the whole
Yeah.
he's like, Shep's still there. And when I see Shep, he was basically saying to Austin, when I see Shep, I get worried because he's still in it and I
He's
can't be in it.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
looking at Shep as something Shep would say come out of Shep's mouth as a cautionary tale.
Yes.
We couldn't you hear
Yes.
Shep saying that? But like this whole like he just getting back to Shep now, he just couldn't wrap his head around the fact that this woman could not be into him. The way he
Well,
was
I give
delusional
him a
with
lot
the
of
love.
he gets a lot of
When he was
confidence.
like, "We were in love, don't you think? Like, don't you agree?" Like, no, Shep. She is looking at you
She was
like,
giving him a side
you
eye,
are
like,
the
"What are you
freakiest,
talking
scariest
about?"
dude. Like,
Yeah.
we were basically banging for a couple of weekends and
Yeah.
having some fun.
Right.
Really? You think it was this great love affair that you're
Yeah.
gonna be live in the Bahamas on the beach? That's Shep's delusion.
It
He's
is.
gonna be in the white sands. This woman is like 27 and Miss Bahamas. You think she wants a washed up alcoholic from Charleston? Like,
No.
unfortunately, that is what Shep is.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a
With his
sweet
mailbox
and he's a
money.
sweet guy and
Yeah.
he tries and he's flawed like we all are. Nobody's perfect, but imagine what she's looking at. Like, ugh,
No.
what?
Yeah, I think it's really sinking in because he's falling for her so hard. And
Oof.
like you said, I think to her, it's like we hooked up,
Who
we're just
are
having
you?
fun.
Get
And
away.
she said to him, "We're not in a I never said we were in a
He's like, "We're in a
relationship.
relationship." She's like, "Were
We're
we?"
not.
And she's like, "We were in love." And she's like, "Were
Were we?
we?"
Like,
Like,
what are you?
she
I
looks
didn't
so
confused. Like,
confused.
where is almost
She
like
looks
where is this
ambushed.
coming
She
from?
actually looks ambushed.
Yeah, she does.
Like,
Well,
what?
I felt bad for her because I do think
She
she
didn't know
was
this was
ambushed at
coming.
this dinner table.
Right, she didn't oh,
You
right,
know,
and
the
they were
friends
like
were all kind of questioning her. I mean,
that's why he
Craig
took her
was,
away.
Whitney was.
He's like, "Guys, don't really go into her on that hard,
No, they were
please."
coming in hard,
And
and
then he took her
he really,
away.
I think she felt like I feel like she almost felt like I feel like I'm the butt of a joke right now.
Or like,
You know,
"What
I
is
just
this?" Like, this man is coming down here saying we had
and
this
his
great love
friends are
affair?
ganging up on
I
me.
screwed this guy and stayed at his house once and saw him once, like, a few times. Like,
Yeah.
what is this horse and pony show that
Yeah.
has come here?
I think, definitely Shep is being delusional and, just
Like, what? Like, can't
where
wrap
is
his
this
head around
coming
it.
from? She
Can't.
said it to the table basically. We're not in a relationship. Like
Right, like,
let
what is
let
happening?
everybody know here we're not in a relationship. So, and look, I think she seems like a sweet lady. And, they left the table because it was getting too much and she gave him like a half hug like we said and she's like, "Don't hate me, Shep." That
Yeah.
was the sign off like we are breaking up. We were never together anyway, but this is the end.
Oh
So
my
to
god,
me,
yeah.
when I saw Shep walk back to the table, he even seemed a little relieved. Let me get out
Well,
of
he
this
was just
off
kinda
this
like,
love
"Yeah,
bubble.
she dumped me."
And she dumped me and I got to move on. So
But the fact he could live that out in front of all of his friends, I would have gone down there alone,
he didn't
no
care.
cameras, like,
He put
he
it
just
out
puts it
there.
all but wait, let's talk about Whitney. He's in this episode for 2 minutes.
Oh,
He comes down first of all, he's all drugged out, right? So he's always got the Ray-Bans on, he's got the
yeah.
dark shades on,
Yeah.
he's all and he comes down with the bottle of Veuve,
Yeah.
and he's got a champagne flute, and then he's got, like, the bathroom glass that he's drinking out of. I was like, oh. But he's
What?
just, like, shaking the glasses in the bathroom,
Yeah,
that
where
I have
were
the
they
covers on?
held? I didn't even know.
Well, like, he
It
poured a
looked
flute
like
for
it.
Madison, but I'm like he's
Hmm.
like, "So what's going on, Shep?" He just comes down to just ridicule, like, you know? And then he looked like Beavis and Butthead, like, you could tell he's sleeping God knows what off. He's probably done 20 bumps of
He was
coke.
definitely butthead for
And
sure.
then and then I love when he's leaving, like, sits on the side of the bathtub, guzzles some down out of God knows where he got the glass from.
Mm.
And then she's like, "Okay, Whitney." Madison says, "I thought this was so funny." She's like, "Go put on all your black clothes." She's like, "See you later, devil." It was so funny.
Oh, I love her.
So
I
funny.
love her subtle little
She's
digs.
funny,
She's
Madison.
very
Like,
funny.
I was like, "See you later, devil." I was
Yep.
like, "Oh my god."
It
And
was
he's just
also funny
so
where she was saying something like, "I would look like a hooker,"
And now what about in the
when he
middle
was
of all this,
yeah.
Vanita's on another freaking planet because she talks to
Oh,
Sally.
she's
She gives
talk about being in a love bubble.
she's sit
She's in a love bubble with
one-sided
JT.
but wait, she's in a one-sided love bubble. However, the
It is.
fact that she was like, "Who are all those texts from?" Like, when they were sitting on the beach
And they were from JT,
but
and they
why
were
was
very
JT
long
sending
texts.
her, like, paragraphs? And then here's Vanita being delusional because she's like, "I feel sorry for this girlfriend because he's spending all his time texting me." I was like, "Vanita, I
Um,
doubt it." But what do you think he was texting her over all this time? Like,
I don't know.
what
I
do you
mean,
think
I
all those
get
texts were about? And she's like, he likes you more than a friend." And she was like,
yeah.
"But he
Oh.
told you, but he said
Well,
he was."
the long text could be because they're such good friends. Like, they're
Right.
like kind of like best friends to each other in this friend
Yeah.
group. So
Yeah.
I get that. So they're very good friends, but she straddled him that night before or whatever.
Right.
And I it seemed like he
But
didn't
he
reciprocate
but
that.
but for her to tell
But
Sally that he likes me more than a friend, it was giving the sense that they were, like, gonna get together when they're not gonna get together. Like,
yeah, it was a
it was
little bit of a
muddied.
teaser.
It was
But you
muddied.
know what I heard? I heard that what the producers did on the show. So, the scene a few
Oh, she's
episodes back,
saying
she made fish for him and he
yeah,
came
yeah,
over and he
yeah.
said, "I'm in a relationship."
Right.
That scene actually happened
Later.
after the Bahamas. So
Right.
there's a little bit of a thing
It's
going on
run
now. Like the
yeah.
woman JT's with now is upset with Vanita for being a like home wrecker or whatever. And
But
she's
right.
really not because it was Bahamas happened,
And then that
then
happened.
that happened, but the
I
producers
see.
put it
Made it
that
sound was
happened
first.
first so that Vanita would have known.
Right,
So I
right.
feel God, do I feel bad for Vanita all around,
Right. Well, that's one thing that's editing where you can't or time frame where you can't
That would what you would
we
say
don't
is
know when it
someone's getting a bad at
happened.
it.
Yeah.
She's getting a bad at it, and she's a sweetheart. So
Right. They made another story out of it, not how it actually happened.
right. So I'm sure that will be cleared up at the reunion. But
Hmm.
anyway, yeah, she's really gaga for JT. So I feel bad for her.
Yeah, and then and then it was just more of same with Shep and, Sienna, just him making an idiot out of himself and
He made an idiot out of herself. She let it be known this is not going anywhere and we're not in a relationship and
thank
I don't
God.
love you, even though he loves her, and move on. So
Shep.
maybe no more Sienna after
E-
this. Like we
Yo,
won't see
no.
any more of that.
No, we've seen it play
I think
out
we've
obviously.
seen plenty now. Like
Yeah, I
we're
don't need to
good.
see any more Vienna.
Yeah.
And then JT, I don't know what ultimately when he leaves the show, but I mean, is the season almost over?
Yeah, the season's almost
So
over.
he's
They
pretty
were
much there
showing
the whole time.
JT in next episode. They are showing JT. I think JT's friends with Leva too, so it was showing something between him and Leva. And also, we're going to hear about Brett. It looks like in his results, Madison's husband. He's probably cancer free. Let's
Oh,
hope.
I hope so.
I hope so. Oh, they're having a baby together now.
Yeah,
So baby, they're having a
babies.
girl, which
Are
is
they
nice.
having a girl? Oh,
Yeah,
that's so fun.
that's so fun.
Was there anything else? I mean, it was interesting, and especially, it's funny that we're talking Southern Charm and Craig is
Hmm.
talking about being an addict. It brings up this very timely topic that's going on right now of a show that's about to come out that, of course, we're going to cover, but The Valley. This whole
Oh
Jax,
yes. Oh,
Jax,
Jax having
Jax
the
is out there.
cocaine addiction.
Yeah, but guess what? I listened to the Hot Mike Bravo Hot Mike podcast
Okay.
about it, about all of his things. And then Brittany comes out Friday on their podcast
Mhm.
and talks about that Jax is only telling the half truths on there. That a
Um,
lot of it is Jax trying to do damage control because apparently this season we watch him just crumble and
mm,
go out of hand. But at least he's admitting the fact that he is an addict for cocaine. He's saying, I'm not real. So it's just timely. Like there's so much addiction on these shows. And I say that too in all of them, like New
yeah,
York, like Ramona, Dorinda, whether or not they want to admit they're alcoholics, they do have problems with drinking.
yeah,
Whether or not they're identifying as alcoholics, they drink alcohol and bad things happen, then chaos ensues. You know what I mean?
yes,
I'm not calling them an alcoholic. That's for them to do. Any of them really. But Jack said he's not really an alcoholic, but the cocaine and the alcohol go hand in hand. And
mm,
that's why when you come down, I guess, off of cocaine, the next day it's like a horrible, horrible day. And that's why
mhm.
they were getting in all these fights. But like they have their son and poor Brittany, like dealing with this guy. I mean, with his anger, rage issues. And
Oh, yeah.
she's
Well, that
really
that might be why he has so many of these rage issues too, is because of the cocaine
right.
is fueling that up, even amping it up more than it already is. Because
Yeah.
the guy does seem to have a lot of anger in there. So,
Oh, but,
I
like,
mean,
the
I don't
fact
think
that he's
cocaine
even
is going
lying
to
he lied
subdue that.
about why he went to rehab. He said he went for his son, like, he's trying to play the victim now because
Yeah.
he's probably so bad on this season parties and he's trying to do some damage control. And he's
Yeah.
like, I was yelling at Brittany in the car, and then this guy Julian, his name popped up, who he helped and was his friend, and she was talking to him and having sex with him or whatever. And then he's like, I was screaming, yelling at her, but then I turned around and found my son in the car, and saw my son was there listening, and I was like, I have to go back to rehab. This would have been a second stint.
Mm.
And he was lying about being on medication. And basically, he's saying, I went to rehab because of my son, which Brittany said, that's not true. I reached out to Alex Baskin, who's the executive producer, to his manager, and to basically they had to threaten his job for him to go back. And
Mhm.
he's saying it was all because of my son. She's like, no, it wasn't that at all.
I believe Brittany
I believe Brittany
100%
too. So
over
it's very
Jax.
interesting to listen to her talk about all the half truths and the no truths. And she was on with Kristen Doty, who's her best friend, who's
Right,
also on
right.
the Valley. So Kristen's like, I can attest. And she was saying, Jack was saying he was on Lexapro. That prescription sat in my junk drawer, the bottle, forever. He never took it. He was talking about this and that. Like, he's just a liar.
Yeah, he really is. He's just not a good person.
He's just
He's just not.
somewhere he's like, maybe
I
somewhere
don't know.
deep, 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 deep down, I am a good person, and Brittany knows that, and he's talking about how
Mm.
he's going to be the best ex-husband to her, and he's going to she makes him show up at their house with a drug test every Monday morning to make
Okay.
sure, because that's when he would probably do his drugs. And she has this little adorable little angel to think
Oh,
about,
yeah.
this little Cruz fella, and I don't doubt that Jax loves his child. He all he
No,
wants
I
Brittany to
always
say
said
is
he
that he's
does seem like a wonderful
like a
father, a
good
loving
dad, but,
father.
a good dad, also a wonderful father, also wouldn't put the child's mother through such hell.
No, I know.
You
That
know?
part
He
is
can't get out of his own way. And Brittany was like, look, Jax Taylor thinks about nothing but Jax Taylor,
I think
first and
so.
foremost.
Yeah, so a true
Whether,
narcissist. I think he
yes.
himself said he is a narcissist.
And
At least
she's,
he's aware of
well,
it,
he's
but
also saying he has major anger issues and he does have this problem, but he is
yeah.
trying to come out with it now prior to the show to look like a victim. That's Jack's whole thing. Jax
Mm.
is always like victim, victim, and he's a work in progress. Well, you've been a work in progress for 11 years. Like, when are you going to fucking shut up? You can be a work in progress your whole life.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you've got to take some accountability for you can't just get around with your bad fucking actions all the time
Yeah.
and lose control of yourself, and then to think it's okay because you apologize or you say something about yourself as victim.
Mhm.
It's not how it works,
I
Jax.
mean, the guy's 45 years old.
Come
I
on,
mean, how
pull your
much of
shit
pull
together.
your shit together.
All right, you're trying, but they're like,
And
so
and the
she's
sad thing
saying,
is he's never gonna have
and
somebody
Brittany's
as good as
saying,
Brittany again,
and
I don't
Brittany's
think.
saying, I more than anybody on this planet Earth wants you to be better.
Yeah.
Because it's about my child now.
Yeah.
You're his father. Of
Mm.
course she wants him to be better more than anybody
Mhm.
because it affects her life directly.
Yes.
So,
Of
but that's
course
what
it
you
does.
sort of get for
Look,
marrying
I mean,
Jax.
Jax is gonna be in her life for the rest of her
We've
life.
gotten Jaxed.
He is the father of her child, so
Right.
that's forever. So
That is forever. So, it's just interesting though that, we're talking about Southern Charm and Craig is coming clean about
his
finally
addiction.
calling himself an addict for whatever it is, drugs, alcohol. Now we've got, Jax. But I do think that is a recurring theme on these shows because they're pumping them with alcohol. These people can't say no, and then they act insane. And that
Yeah.
is basically Bravo's platform.
Yeah.
It does that,
Well,
it's
I
part
think
of it.
that there's so much pressure being on a reality show, and it's probably so much harder than we think it is
Well,
or
it's
than it
because
looks
you have
like.
to be ready to
So
put your life out there.
you're putting your life out there. So to deal with that, I'm sure people are trying to self-medicate a little bit. Like, I got to have a drink to calm myself down, or I got to have some drug or whatever it is. So I get why a lot of them have these issues, or why they're taking the alcohol
Or
or
if
the
there was
drugs.
proclivity toward having an alcohol problem, this just
Enhances it.
enhances it, and they drink because they want to,
Yeah.
kind of relax a little,
Yeah,
and then they
exactly.
do
Take that
some
edge
right,
off.
and then they
I
do
got
some
cameras in my
right,
face and
and
I'm
now
talking about my real
well, I
life.
imagine after a while, and they all
Totally.
do
Imagine
say
the
it,
cameras in your
but
face all the
but
time.
they
Like,
say, yeah, but after a while, they become part of the woodwork too.
yeah,
You
I
know what I
guess
mean? You just
you're
get
right.
so
Sure. You
used to
get
it.
used to
They've
it.
been doing this now for 10 years. Jax, 11, 12 years. Southern Charm guy. I mean,
Yeah. In fact, actually, when the cameras aren't there and they stop, it's probably weird for them. Like, they actually get addicted to that.
right.
So, you know,
They get used to it, or
they get used to it. I mean,
doing it.
Jax, I have to say, and Brittany and Kristen, they got lucky because they got out of Vanderpump and now they're on another hit
And that
show.
wasn't lucky. He was fired from that show.
He was fired. Was he fired for something
Yeah,
controversial? I
he
can't
was fired
remember. It was
because he
just
was
like
probably everything, doing drugs. He was telling Lisa, "This is my show." His ego was out of hand. He
out of
wasn't
hand because he
showing
got so
up
popular.
for anything. He's angry man. He's the
Yeah.
angry young man. He's not a young man though anymore.
No, he's
And
not.
it's not cute, and he needs to
Getting older.
move on.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of everything
I
here.
think
We covered the Southern Charm? We covered
Well, something popped in my head. I want to say one
talk.
thing while we're talking
Come on, of
Sandoval.
course.
Excuse me, while we're talking Vanderpump.
Valley.
Back to the
The
Valley, but back to the Traders. I'm thinking about Sandoval. So it looked like Carolyn from the Traders and Sandoval had a little. Carolyn was crushing on Sandoval. Did you see
Really?
that? Yeah.
Oh,
It was mentioned in the
where, during
reunion
the
that
reunion?
she had a little bit of a crush on him.
Oh God.
I don't know if he did
Carolyn,
her.
he would be the worst person on earth for you to get in touch with. Does drugs. Whether or not they're recreational,
Sandoval
whatever.
does like he does the
Recreational,
California stuff.
Like, are you
That
kidding?
California sober.
Famously, him and Sandoval trip on shrooms and come up with all their ideas for all their shit that they do.
Okay.
Swartz and Sandy's, but he's
Okay.
a boozer. He's a cheater. Like she's sober. He is not the guy for Carolyn to be
Right.
with.
But I just found that a little interesting that they had their
But
little
I didn't see that. Was he flirting back?
flirty. I did not see that at all. And he does have his girlfriend, but I didn't see her flirty too, but it did come up the she had a crush on him.
I
just thought that was
I
interesting.
thought it was also interesting that he's happened to say, like, I was respected, and then Andy read a quote from something from a list, from a fan on his cards that said, Sandoval has redeemed himself in our eyes.
Yeah.
He hasn't redeemed himself.
He
in my
said it.
eyes,
He
but
definitely said that at the reunion.
He said that at the reunion.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah, he did.
And
That he redeemed.
Sandoval's very
I
happy.
think to a tiny degree he did.
And Sandoval's now going to be on every show because they were like, please have him on every reality show we've ever had, like game shows and all these like Big
He'll do
Brother
more
shit.
of these types
I
of
don't think
shows.
he was that great though.
He was. I just
was
think that
amusing.
he got away from the Sandoval.
Right, you're right.
In-
Sandoval,
In
yeah.
his reputation, it got a little bit better.
Yeah, no,
through the
yeah.
show.
You're
I
totally
do
right.
think so.
And
But
also, it
also,
brought him back up to a human level. Sorry, go ahead.
right. It made him human again. It didn't make him like the scum of the earth, like the whole world.
For me, but
was.
he seems to have redeemed himself in the world at large's eyes.
Exactly.
Now, what were you going to say?
No, the last thing I was going to say was Dolores at the virtual reality event. She did say that Carolyn had a crush on Tom. She said it too at that event I was at. So she confirmed it too. So
Really?
there was a crush going on there. It was just interesting.
She had a crush on Sandoval.
She did. I think, it seems
And
like
he has
maybe
a
she just
girlfriend.
likes the off the beaten path.
His
off the beat
girlfriend
type.
was they were on Watch What Happens Live, Carl and Sandoval, and his girlfriend was there.
Oh,
so they were
okay.
on
The latest
Wednesday or Thursday night. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta watch
It was
that
either
one.
it was right after Summer House, so that was Wednesday night.
Wednesday
maybe?
night. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, so and his girlfriend was there, and they were talking about, the traders and all of it. and,
Okay.
Summer House and the whole bit. So
Yeah.
it was interesting. And Tom actually didn't look so boozed up. Like he actually looked better. He looked cleaner and neater.
Yeah.
He wasn't Worm with a mustache playing the part of the villain.
exactly.
He looked clean and neat and shaved and
I think
his old Sandoval self a little bit.
people want to see a comeback always, and this is his little comeback. So good for him. I don't want to see him fail. I
Yeah, I
don't think he's a
either.
horrible person.
No,
he did
he's
a
not.
horrible thing,
Yeah, he did.
but let's not see him fail. And good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Right. Let him be. Let him go on all the shows.
Yeah, that's it.
Sandoval. Well, there we did it.
It
There
is.
we are. We
Yeah.
are finito on this lovely winter day, a March day here, but we are so sad to see the traders go.
We are really going to miss Traders.
The Valley's coming.
It's coming, and I think Real Housewives of Atlanta's coming.
Atlanta and yeah, so we're here. We're here for it all.
Mm-hmm.
We are here
There's
in the living
always shows to cover.
And that's it for now. So thanks for listening. And
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.